Hello, friends. Hello, Brainiacs, and welcome to Sunday Cinematic Service, where every Sunday we talk about a religious based film or something tangentially related to religion, faith, etc. And this week we're talking about Twisted Pair, the 2018 Neil Breen film. And Breen in general. As unbeknownst to myself when suggesting the film, it has very little actual religious stuff within it. So Twisted Pair is the new film, or newest film by Neil Breen, the crazy man auteur of bad cinema, sort of the replacement for Tommy Wiseau in terms of films that get made by himself and released and summarily laughed at by the entire internet, and he has become a joke. But unlike Tommy Wiseau, he has made several films. Fateful Findings, probably the most famous one, and Twisted Pair is the most recent one. And to give a brief synopsis, as there is a lot to get into, and I don't want to introduce it for 5 hours. What happens is Neil Breen plays two twins, and at a young age, they become AI, which gives them sort of special powers. They can fly around, teleport, things of that nature. One of the twins is quite successful. He is the one with a shaved beard, and he seems to fight some kind of espionage, crime people by going into laboratories and messing up some vaguely defined experiments to take down somebody called coups. The other brother, he has a beard and he has a drug-addicted girlfriend, and he kidnaps politicians. He kidnaps people who are corrupt and tortures them, as well as having the drug-addicted girlfriend. That's about all that he does. But Neil Breen works at this corporation with his girlfriend, wife, some kind of relationship that they've got. And they work there during the day, and he secretly fights espionage at night. She betrays Neil Breen at one point. Spoiler alert, obviously, is all go into the whole thing. So she betrays Neil Breen and sells to some random people in a car park of the very same establishment they both work at. And Neil Breen, tragically, in the end, has to kill her. And that's about as much of it that is legible or understandable. I suppose we'll start with you, Chris, to award you for your release in the zoo. What did you think of Neil Breen's film Twisted Pair?
Okay, I just want to say one thing as well. I didn't realize until you introduced it that this was going to be a Sunday Cinematic Service episode.
Well, I thought it had more religious stuff in it because normally he is God, basically. So we'll get into it, but I suppose I might briefly touch on the one we watched.
Okay. Well, I mean, he has a reputation, right? And it's on full display in this wonderful gem, Twisted Pair. I mean, it was an experience, right? You know, like it's every minute felt like an eternity. There's just so many bizarre choices and moments and decisions, and where does one begin breaking down Twisted Pair? I mean, I enjoyed the experience of watching it, I guess, but it's fascinating. It is a fascinating little gem, I suppose. I'm still processing it, to be honest. Heath?
Yeah, I would actually I enjoyed this one more than I have most of his other films. I think this one, like from a pacing perspective, is a lot better. Like it still has that sort of that the shots go on for too long, and there's just a whole bunch of pointless shit in it and all that sort of thing. But it is to a lesser degree. Like, I was surprised that like it's sort of, you know, when he like really started reusing shots was at like the 1 hour mark. So, you know, got through a whole hour of the film where like most of the shots weren't reused. So I really but yeah, I it's by no means good. But I think it is better. Um I I'm off like I'm often sort of one of the things about Neil Breen, and like I would really love to like you were talking about like the weird choices he makes. I would love to just like sit down with him and like go through his films, like, and just go like, what, why did you do this? Like, because I'm sure he has a reason for every single choice he like makes in the films, in his films. Um, but like they're just so bizarre, and yeah, I would really love to do that. Like as a like genuine good faith discussion with him as to like to try and like sort of work out like what his process is, because there are just so many weird things in here, and it's like, why did you do that? And they have to mean something to him. I just yeah. But in general, yeah, I actually like this one. It wasn't as painfully slow. It wasn't a dirge like the other ones tend to be.
Okay, so my viewpoint on the film, I suppose, is similar to yours, Heath. That it's clearly that he's learned a few tricks since before. Because I mean, me and you have watched there's like supercuts on YouTube where they're like half an hour of the film just edited to get rid of the deadwood of it. But Jesus Christ, even those half an hour ones have so much repeated footage and stuff in them that they are hard to sit through by themselves. The only thing I think I'd say about this one though is it kind of feels like a bit of a repeat of best moments from the previous ones in a way, which I think does make it sort of sleeker and it passes a bit quicker. But I do find it to be kind of less interesting in the way that like The Room is or something, or Fateful Findings, because you know you've got the world view of Neil Breen is very much, you know, it's one man, him, who is also a like godlike figure who is against, you know, corruption and all these things. Usually it'll end in some kind of apocalyptic moment where he saves the world, like famously in the Fateful Finding ones where all these politicians are simultaneously assassinated and all that kind of stuff. And you touch on that a little bit here, where he's got the politicians in the basement. But to me, it lacked the kind of like all-encompassing worldview of one of his earlier ones. It felt very scattershot, like he had like about a million ideas, and he placed them all. Like I think this one as well. It's as you say, it's interesting that the hour mark is when they ran out of footage and started reusing stuff. But I think this one doesn't feel like it builds to anything, so it has a worse ending than the other ones because it doesn't end on something which is sort of big and climactic in the way that Fateful Findings does, or the eco-fascist one where he kills like 3 million people to save the world.
Mm. Well, I think, well, yeah, obviously this one, because as it says at the end, Cade Altair will return. So, you know, this is obviously building up to something else. This is like his Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's the Breenverse, so, you know, I think that may be it's sort of like that with the final Harry Potter film of films, you know, where they had to where they cut it in half, and like the first one was sort of anticlimactic at the end because, like, you know, it's stopping in the middle of the story. So I think maybe that's the issue that you're having there, that this is obviously like a bigger story, and we're only just seeing like the start, the build up to what is going to be, I assume, a spectacular conclusion.
We
But
can only hope.
I also wonder though, like seriously though, I wonder whether he's sort of also taken on some of like the feedback and the criticisms that he's got in regards to like the way he sort of like because the like there is a sort of like his other stuff there does seem to be this sort of like weird genocidal bent to them. Like he you know you talked about like the eco-fascism and that sort of thing in like some of his earlier films. I wonder this one seemed like a little bit more like calm. Like it was like it wasn't basically the threat to humanity was from the outside, and this and his character was stopping this threat from the outside. Whereas normally his films are the problem is the people, like are humans, and he is the thing that is fixing them. So it's sort of like a reversal of like what normally happens, but he still had to have that in the film with like Kale, yeah, Kale, because that like Kale, like the bad guy, is like the is sort of like the normal Neil Breen like protagonist. He's going after and killing all these like corporate people who you know like corrupt corporate people. So yeah, I don't know. I don't. Maybe I'm like looking into this a bit too much, but I feel like you know he's like sort of maybe distancing himself from his earlier films, like by having it this way. I don't know what you guys think.
So you're trying to say this is a work of a more mature Neil Breen. You know, he's learned some things, and he's self-reflecting on his career thus far.
Exactly.
A
Yeah, I think
summation,
so.
so to speak.
Yeah, he's cast his earlier self as a villain and as the bad guy who is objectively wrong, and he's now realizing that he needs to become the savior in a different way for humanity.
Sure, I buy it.
Well, it is interesting though that in
like
his
that.
earlier films, you've got the woman who you've got obviously the twin, the Kale, and he has the drug addicted girlfriend, and well, they're both drug addicted. In an earlier film, it would have ended with her being like mown down, maybe by the brother. Like maybe the brother could be like say something like, you know, you've turned my brother into this, like a junkie, and he could like shot her in the face or something. But it's interesting. I think he's turned away from that and just decided just to not conclude that storyline at all, just to keep it hanging completely and never resolved.
Well, no, that's concluded. Because
what happens to the drug addicted girlfriend again?
Well, they meet in the thing, and remember that scene where she's like, you don't have a beard, and he's like, I've never had a beard, and
I've never had a beard.
That's a different woman, isn't it? The person he meets at the end is who betrayed him.
That's the drug addicted girlfriend.
I'm sure that's the woman who
No.
I've deleted the film off my hard drive now. I'm 100% sure that woman is the one who betrayed him, and that's why he meets her in the afterlife as a way of forgiving her for betraying him.
No, yeah. Oh God. so that she's watching that scene when that concludes, because he then gives the drug addicted girlfriend money and says, you know, go look after yourself. I'm sorry, like, what my brother did to you, or something to that effect. And then the one you're talking about is off in the distance, like, looking at it going, oh no, my husband is cheating on me, or something. Which sort of doesn't really go anywhere. So, but yeah, like...
No, I think you're confused. I'm telling the woman who betrays him, the woman who sees him with that woman is his girlfriend, and that's why she betrays the non-bearded Breen, because she saw him and thinks he's having an affair.
Yeah, but, okay, the woman that he gives the money to is the drug-addicted girlfriend to the bearded Breen.
I don't. I think that's a separate woman.
No.
Clearly,
Wait,
I've this
what?
over my head now. It's too.
I'm so confused.
Oh god. So yeah, but like the thing is that I don't even know whether it's the same actress like throughout the like film, because like yes, we genuinely got confused there for a while as to like who like was like who. Like we initially thought the drug addicted girlfriend and the other and the wife. Let's call it the girlfriend and the wife. The wife and the girlfriend were like the same actress as well, but they weren't. They just looked very similar. But yeah, so but I'm telling you, that's what happens. Is that the good Breen gives the drug addicted girlfriend money and tells her to go off and live her life, and look after herself as sort of by way of an apology, which I think is like an interesting. Like you were talking about how like it would normally be that the girlfriend would be mowed down or killed or whatever, and it's like that the girlfriend sort of the drug addicted girlfriend is given a second chance and a chance for redemption. Maybe this is what this film's about. It's about redemption.
Okay, I'm still skeptical. But Chris, do you have any observation about who's right here? Have you
About who too? Well, like in my head canon, I'm just imagining that they're all the same person, and Neil Breen is just like taking off like the beard, you know what I mean, and like keeping up a ruse that like he's two brothers when in fact it's the same person. Just to throw that into the mix.
Right, I've re-downloaded the film. I'm telling you, that is the woman who was his girlfriend rather than the.
I don't believe you.
All right, I'll have to do some investigation, and maybe we can do a follow-up to it.
Like, when we've worked out the plot of this film, we'll do a follow-up video to discuss it in more depth.
There may be a small chance, and when I say small chance, probably a large chance, that he has just used like these two actresses interchangeably in different scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually do think you're right there. Yeah.
But the thing, okay, I know this is probably not a measure for like I don't think that this is potentially a good measure to prove that I'm right. But for that scene to make sense, the woman that he gives money to would have to be the drug addicted girlfriend.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm saying like I'm pinning my whole argument on a scene from a Neil Breen film making sense, but like I guarantee you. Anyway.
Okay, so I'm with that woman might be his ex-girlfriend, but the woman he meets in the afterlife is definitely his girlfriend who betrayed him, 100%.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I don't think.
Sorry?
Okay, so the film is okay. I think I'm on board now. I get what you mean now. Okay, all right. So we're on board, on the same page.
Yeah. And this is just one scene of a 90-minute film. Look at what has happened to us. This is the experience of watching the entirety. Like the internal contradictions. It's almost like someone making a plane out of like elastic bands and stuff, right? Like the film is like watching someone like constantly putting down the railway tracks as like the train is like bombarding behind. He's trying to use every single like trick in his very, very limited filmmaking library to like try and make this story work in any way, and it just doesn't. Like, he clearly wants to tell this ambitious story, but whatever free movie maker that he downloaded from the internet, like it's not set up to match the ambitions of his narrative. I mean, there are so many wonderful, and by that I mean terrible special effects shots in this film. The splitting of the Breens, like his weird like purpley forest scene, inserting himself into stock footage. Like it honestly does have this like you almost watch it in a bit of a daze. You kind of like you just soak it in every decision that this guy has got into trying to make this story work, and we amongst ourselves we were theorizing different ways, and just as probably cheap ways of making these shots work. But like I'm with you, Heath. I want to sit down with this guy and like you have a genuinely nice conversation about, okay, well, why did you do it that way? Did you not consider this maybe? And going back to the whole like misplacement of actors thing, like we've seen him do it in the film as well. You had the guy with like the red shades, who was holding the diamonds constantly. Like, oh, we were confused because at one point, like that actor definitely changes. It is definitely a different actor playing that character in one scene. So we were like, well, is that the same guy, or is it like a different character who happens to dress the same? Like. So we know we set a precedent for using a mixture of actors playing the same character. So it's all up in the air about what the whole girlfriend wife thing's about.
I think that like, and one of the frustrating things is, and I sort of pointed this out while we were watching it, and with you talking about like different ways of doing things. One of the frustrating things is like he does do the things that we suggest in other scenes though. Like that's the like so it's not that he doesn't know how to do it. It's that he specifically chooses not to, and that's why I want to talk. Like, I would love to talk to him. It's like, why did you specifically choose to do this? You know that, like, you can do something else, and it actually looks better. But
yeah,
like, anyway.
Yeah, because we pointed out where like there'd be scenes which are kind of like set up not perfectly but set up for like like the lighting is set up in such a way where it's appropriate for the scene, but instead he has his actors literally like walk into the light and then walk out of the light instead of just starting the scene with them in the light. It's like he knows how to block a scene, I think, but it's just the need to have that as like one long continuous take, and having the confidence to say, right, I'm starting the scene here. We don't need to see how these characters got into the scene. Like, just start there, man. You're better than this, Neil. God damn it.
And there's like the scene at the start with the soldiers. And he like sort of walks into the scene and it's all paused. And then he's like, follow me. They can't hurt you if you're following me. And then like the video starts as they sort of like he could have easily like edited that differently. So that like, the like so to make it more fluid basically. So that it wouldn't be that difficult to do. Considering as well, like, he was ADRing it. It's not like he'd recorded the line and then, like, he'd filmed it on the green screen and then he was like, the timing's all messed up. He ADR'd it anyway, so, like, he could have done... Oh, God. Oh, it is genuinely, like, it's hilarious to watch because, like, it is... That sort of thing is so funny. But it is, like, equally frustrating because it's like there are ways that like he could have done this and it would have been fine, and I feel like he can do it. He just chooses not to, and I don't know why.
It's so annoying.
But yeah.
Oh God.
I'm genuinely now on board with my my original theory that I sort of just came up with on the fly there. That this film is a is sort of like a pseudo apology for his previous films and his potentially bad bad taste. Yeah. On the ways to fix society. I genuinely do think that this film is a lot more optimistic than his other films. I don't know whether you guys sort of picked up on that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because it sort of suggests that the shaved Neil Breen could technically say. I think he's just a lot less ambitious, to be honest. Like, I don't think there's necessarily anything in it where he's got like a positive vision for the future or anything. That I just don't think he's handling anything like the other one. So we can give, I suppose, a brief plot and history of some of the viewpoints in his other films. I think Fateful Finding ends with him assassinating the the bad people who are the corrupt politicians, and it has like a web of everyone who's evil and stuff getting assassinated by just CGI in a little sniper rifle thing on the screen. One of them, I can't remember which one, ends with is about like illegal immigration and ends with a plea for them to go back to their own country to be safer, I think. And then there's the eco-fascist one, and there's another one where it's like someone who gets kidnapped, who's like a woman who gets kidnapped and taken into sort of drug-induced slavery, and then she's just murdered at the end. And all these are supposed to be metaphors for the ills of society. I think he's just given up on dealing with any of that, and now it's all this. Like, I don't think there's anything in here which is as ambitious as suggesting that we can kill the bad people, we can get rid of the 3 billion people, and then it's resolved. I think he's just toned down his ambition rather than offering a hopeful vision for society, to be honest.
No, I disagree with you on that. I think it is. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I think and I may be giving him far too much credit. and I will totally own that. But I just think that like this idea of the in it, like the protagonist is stopping an outside threat from destroying humanity through through technological means and all that sort of thing, and like it's sort of showing like this sort of, I would say, a sort of more optimistic future through technology, and the fact that the evil twin is engaging in behavior that his protagonist would normally have been engaged in previous films. I don't know. I just like, it just seems like it's just too. It lines up too well for me not to think that that it's like intentional, like not intentional.
Yeah, I can see. I definitely think he's commenting on past stuff. Definitely, yeah. I think that's a good take to have from the film.
A good take worthy of a good take, guys.
Shut up! We don't talk about them.
We don't talk about those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know whether we've really got much more to say about it. Like, there is no sort of, and we were kind of duped, like based on his previous films. There does seem like there are a lot of religious themes which aren't present here. So
premise as well is to invite that. Like, I was thinking it might be like a sort of. They might have been like sent by God or something, and one was the evil in man and one was the good. I thought that was going to be where it was going to go at one point and stuff. So I think we've been duped as well. And I just like to say it's just like, as a final thing, it's just disappointing that it's kind of not got more substance to it. It's the kind of thing you can laugh at because of how bad the effects are, but it's not Fateful Findings or Room level where it's like the viewpoint of a crazy crackpot rich guy who's got enough money to do a vanity project and stuff. Like, you don't even see him like nearly naked at any point. So for me, big thumbs down for that.
Instant 1 star for Marcus because Neil Breen isn't naked at any point.
I think he's feeling his age. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but in some of the shots where it's quite close to his like his neck as well, or his hands.
Yeah.
He's definitely a man in his 60s now.
Like when he's crouched down and stuff, like he's obviously having a hard time getting back up and stuff. And,
yeah, and like some of the scenes where he's like walking. There's one scene where he's like walking next to a wall, and he looks like he's about to like list into the wall. Like He's
In fact, that might explain the weird jump cuts, like in the running scenes. Like he'll start running down the corridor, then it'll just cut to him at the other end of the corridor.
mm,
Like maybe they just had him sprint a little bit, and then he just casually walk down, and then resume the rest of the running later on. That might
yeah.
explain it.
I think as well, he could probably. This is sort of another frustrating choice because we've established in the film that this guy can teleport. Like, why wouldn't you just put like an after effect in, like, to hide the jump cut? Like, ah. Anyway, what were your final thoughts on it, Chris?
Well, I will say that there was one vaguely religious thing at the end. He essentially ascends, but then makes the choice to return back to Earth, resurrected to spread his good word. That's the other thing I could get. As I said, I wasn't even aware we were doing this for Sunday Cinematic Service, so I wasn't even. It didn't even clock with me. But I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Breen does have a history of that. No, I mean, I kind of echo Marcus's sentiments as well. Like, it's I enjoyed it still, because it's Neil Breen, but like, yeah, my takeaway was ultimately, let's hope part 2 gets a bit wackier. That's kind of what I want. Can't wait for part 2. It's most anticipated sequel for next year.
yeah, no, I agree. I think that I think he's building to something. And I think, like I said, that there were like triplets, not just 2 of them.
Oh yeah,
in it, and I feel like that's gonna be what we're gonna see in the sequel. I don't know. I may just be completely off base with this. It's really hard to like sort of map normal film conventions onto like a Neil Breen film, but it did kind of seem that way. But yeah, no, I actually, I don't know. I like this. I genuinely like this film. And like I think you sort of your mileage will vary on it. But yeah, I think it's a lot better than like his other films. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Marcus, about it doesn't sort of have the scope of other films, but I reckon that is mostly because of mostly because I think it is building up to something else. Like he's obviously got a story in mind here with this, and like this is his Star Wars, man. Like, and but yeah, I think that like I think that like thematically and that sort of thing, there is something going on in there, like for him, and that like with how he's obviously thinking about like how he makes his films and that sort of thing, and there are improvements in the actual film over the other ones. I just I genuinely can't wait until like the second one comes out, Twisted Pair 2, or I don't know,
Electric Boogaloo.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I like it. Yeah, obviously you guys didn't, but fine. That's you can.
No, I liked it.
It was an enjoyable experience to watch it. I just don't think it will hold up as well as the other ones because it's not as personal, basically. Like I don't think it'll be like The Room where people will come back again and again to it to try and pass out the details of his life and stuff. But we can end on a quote from Neil Breen I found from IMDb, and this gets to sort of what you were saying about how maybe we didn't understand what was going on as much, because he said, on the use of social commentary in his films, I don't try to tell people what's wrong or right. I don't preach to people. I just lay out something that I think is interesting. So I just sort of lay out something that I think is interesting and thought-provoking. Let's end on those wise words from Neil Breen.
Excellent.